My mother-in-law has the absolute nerve to fake an illness, fake a sickness, so she can boss me around, but you know what? I'm up to it because I know she's full of baloney, and I'm going to expose it. My mother-in-law, Candace, well, she has Alzheimer's as diagnosis from the family doctor, Jack, right before my father-in-law passed away, and she used the diagnosis to bully and harass me all day long and get off scot-free, so I played along and got my husband Cody to get her to sign all the inheritance that was originally supposed to go to charity to him. So basically, I've been married to Cody for almost 15 years now. We have twins and originally had our own house, but when Henry, my father-in-law, got ill, we moved to his parents' house to take care of them. Henry had terminal cancer, so he needed constant care and support from his family until his death. In the last few months, my mother-in-law Candace also started forgetting things and acting a little strange, not understanding simple things and struggling with speech. So we took her to the family doctor, Jack. He diagnosed her with Alzheimer's. Now, my father has dementia due to MID, so I knew how to take care of her. Candace has never really liked me, and when I got married to Cody, there was a huge fight between Cody and Candace over the type of women he was bringing into their home. I'm the legal advisor for a major company, but back when I was a theater actress pursuing law, I'm from an upper-middle-class family, but I've never liked taking money from family since I was like 15. So I mostly lived paycheck to paycheck back then, which was fine, to be honest. Anyways, she did not let us go for our honeymoon, and called me derogatory terms in front of everyone present at our wedding. Sheesh, am I right? She accused me of gold digging and having ulterior motives behind my marriage with Cody. I didn't really react, respond, or reciprocate. To avoid conflicts and issues, I've always been avoidant of confrontations and prefer to let people assume whatever the heck they want. Well, she never actually had to worry about my stealing the family wealth. Henry was a firm believer in charity, and he had written his entire will solely to Candace and nothing to Cody except the house. He had informed Candace of several charitable trusts he wanted to give to and had requested Candace to give away whatever was left of these trusts, though it wasn't explicitly mentioned in the will. So Cody wasn't getting anything anyways, which he was not very happy about. But he could not exactly complain, could he? While Henry was alive, Candace would say things to me. Harsh things, but just to me, to literally no one else. She would gaslight me, making me doubt my own actions, my own thoughts, and simple conversations turned into traps, where every word I said was twisted against me. It was as if she was determined to make me feel like an outsider in my home. But that was it, nothing else. It just escalated when Henry died, though, leaving us here to care for Candace. The torture I experienced from this woman was more psychological than physical. It was like she always had a constant barrage of verbal abuse, manipulation, and deliberate attempts ready to make me feel unwelcomed and inadequate. It was annoying, it was hurtful, and I tried talking about it to Cody, but he simply dismissed me, saying I had to understand that she was not in the right place mentally, and that dementia was more rough on her than it was on me, so I had to tolerate it. At first, I tried to be understanding, thinking that her diagnosis explained the erratic and sometimes cruel behavior towards me. But as time passed, it became clear that something wasn't adding up. Her dementia felt to me like it was selective, only showing up when it suited her to avoid the consequence of her behavior towards me. Still, I kept telling myself that it was just the dementia speaking, not her. I kept saying to myself that I could not retaliate anyway, so I had to keep my head down and wait for her to get bad enough to be admitted. Call me a bad person for that. I don't care. I was okay with her passing comments about me when we were alone. Yeah, it stung, but it simply kept getting worse and worse. Her bullying went as far as to undermine my decisions, belittle my efforts to work while doing literally everything around the house, and even spread rumors about me within the family circle. It left me feeling constantly drained, anxious, on edge. She'd find fault and point out screw-ups in everything I did. From the way I cooked to how I arranged the furniture, and no matter how hard I tried, it was never good enough for her. And what was worse, she seemed to derive pleasure from seeing me struggle. Even my kids tried to defend me, even though they saw how much this was affecting me, but I let it go because I genuinely thought that she was struggling, and that her general hatred for me was taking this form when she was affected by brain degradation. The worst part was how I was feeling utterly powerless against her actions, especially when she used her Alzheimer's diagnosis as a shield to escape any consequences. Living under that kind of stress and manipulation was like walking on eggshells every single day. I was indefinitely and inescapably trapped in a situation where I could not defend myself without being seen as the bad guy. I felt suffocated by her constant harassment, and strangely the one thing I noticed was that she seemed to revel in her newfound immunity to repercussions. It was almost as if she was using the diagnosis as an excuse to get away with tormenting me. Well, I don't know. I think the final straw for me was when Candace took my phone. She took my phone from the kitchen table and tweeted racist things on my ex. I noticed the tweets too late, and I was being completely dragged on X for half an hour with my phone on silent until I picked it up and noticed what she had done. I quickly deleted the tweets and confronted her about it, still thinking she was just acting out due to her dementia. She said that she thought it was her phone and insisted her opinion was right anyways. She continued to stutter and blabber racist thoughts about a certain ethnicity, and then I told her to stop it. She just started saying misogynistic things instead. I just rolled my eyes and tuned her out, typing out an apology for X, but it was too late. My account got suspended and my boss called me and she almost fired me, but I somehow managed to convince her that my mother-in-law made those comments using my ex and that I deleted them and tried to correct her as soon as I saw them. My boss, being a member of the same ethnicity that Candace had said disgusting things about, was simply disappointed and hung up the phone. So yeah, I almost lost my job because of this woman. This incident just made me already raise eyebrows and go even further up. The one thing that she didn't know and never bothered to ask was how my dad passed away of dementia. So I had plenty of experience with it before, and I've never seen anyone act selectively rude or harass someone in the fit ever. This all seemed fishy to me. And even though she might not have been an actual Alzheimer's patient, she had one mental problem that gave me the upper hand. She was old. So I was bound to catch her slipping eventually, and I'm not kidding anyways. I started keeping tabs on her, watching her every move, and it was actually pretty easy to figure out she was faking it. The way she talked to her friends with such great memory skills and strong cognition, I knew that there was something fishy. The way she only acted forgetful in front of Cody and the kids and mean to me. The way that she would remember every time it was her appointment with Dr. Jack. The way nobody had to give her the prescribed pills. She would take them herself and keep everything organized without any help. I finally caught her act when I overheard her talking to the Dr. Jack over the speakerphone, letting me hear the entire conversation easily. They were laughing at how Candace poured paprika into my smoothies yesterday when I wasn't looking, and how she pretended she was choking on it, which caused a fight between Cody and I. Damn woman, that was cruel. Anyways, that still did not confirm my suspicion, so I listened on a little longer, and sure enough, they started discussing how much longer she would be faking dementia, and how he was running out of ideas to keep the charade up. He told her to slow down on harassing me, because I might get suspicious and start sniffing around. Well, you know what, Doc? Spot on. 10-10 logic you've got there. And figure out that she did not actually have dementia. Candace just chuckled and called me stupid. I decided I'd heard enough and walked away. I was fuming like I don't think I've ever felt that much anger in my entire life. And anger made me vengeful. Oh boy, I was going to take revenge. And I was going to make sure Candace suffered. I planned out how I was going to go about it down to the T, making sure there was no room for suspicions, and I was going to get Candace to sign her inheritance to Cody. And to be very, very honest, I never expected it to work. My original intention was to manipulate Candace into thinking that I was trying to siphon all her money, and then break and confess to everyone that she wasn't actually an Alzheimer's patient, while calling me out. But turns out she's more scared of her charade blowing to pieces than giving up all her money because somehow it worked, and she signed her will to us. I went up to Cody one day telling him I felt like Candace was unstable and incapable of managing all of the father's assets. I told him that he deserved to get his inheritance and that he could pass it on to charity, but that we need to have a safety net for the sake of our kids. Cody has always been a bitter bit about Henry's decision to give all his property to charity, because he's his only son, and he's always been the best son to his capacity. So when I suggested that we should get Candace to sign the will to us, he jumped at the suggestion a little too early, and, well, for someone deceiving and cheating their mother out of a fortune. Anyways, we spent some time together planning how we were going to carry it out without her remembering what Henry wanted. A few days later, we both approached Candace together. She sat in her favorite armchair, a magazine clutched in her hands, and her eyes were glazed over, not really reading what she was holding. It was the facade she wore so well, and the supposed haze of Alzheimer's that conveniently appeared whenever it suited her. I knew the truth, so I wasn't fooled by her melodramatic acting anymore. I could see Cody cringing a bit, not knowing the reality. He gave me a little guilty face, and I pretended to be guilty myself, mirroring his expression. I wasn't actually guilty because I legitimately thought that she'd confess. I still felt weird about manipulating an old woman, but the fire of my vengefulness drove me on. This plan felt wrong on so many levels, but the constant torment had pushed me to this desperate juncture. We needed to put an end to this cycle for our own sanity and for the sake of our kids. Cody got her attention, and she pretended to not recognize him for a minute before she widened her eyes and acted like she suddenly remembered the existence of her son. So damn fake. So damn melodramatic. I rolled my eyes and just went with it, like, whatever, man, as long as she either confesses or gives us the inheritance. She looked up, her gaze shifting between us, a hint of suspicion lingering in her eyes. She called me a name and told me to get out of her breathing space. So, I backed up a little. So the conversation went strangely normal and quick, and I started cautiously about how Cody and I were thinking about our kids and their education, choosing my words in calculated precision. With the recession and everything, we needed to secure their futures and ensure that they had enough to get through college, which would be a little difficult to achieve without help. Candace's expression remained unreadable throughout my talking, putting a mask on of detachment that I knew was because of her being more aware than she let on. When I finished talking, she called me a gold digger and shushed me. Predictable, but I wasn't backing down that easy. Cody continued from there, ensuring that he got through to his mother, instead of her belittling and rejecting me like she always does. He informed her of his desire for her to transfer her ownership of Henry's assets to him, so he could provide for his kids and then give back to society, and that he deserved this much for being such a good son all these years. He said that she was well cared for by us, so she didn't really need all this property, whereas we did. He promised not to touch her bank accounts and whatever was in it, so she had safety and security just in case, and he promised to care for her for the rest of her life. It was almost as if he were pressuring her. But hey, I wasn't complaining, obviously. I was just waiting for her facade to crack, or for her to slip up, or even better, for her to give a confession. He kept pushing her, backing her into a corner and guilt-tripping her. To be honest, I was kind of concerned about this behavior, but hey, I get it. He was being deprived of his rightful fortune just because his father thought giving back to the world was more important than financially securing his son. There was a pause, a pregnant silence that hung heavily in the room. Candace's eyes searched ours as if trying to scour the truth hidden beneath our words. I could almost see the gears turning in her mind, calculating, assessing the situation. She looked at me once and I smirked at her, letting her know, it's game over, baby. She tried to pretend to fall asleep mid-conversation, but Cody woke her up, unrelenting and hungry for the property, and I think she saw the desperation in her own son, completely uninfluenced by me, and gave in. Cody handed her the papers, carefully guiding her hand by hand to sign them. Her signature marked the transfer of inheritance complete, redirecting it to Cody. She did not confess, however, as I hoped, but she gave us something better. She signed on the will that we prepared for her, not really going through it, because if she did, it would be obvious that she was faking her illness and that her comprehension skills were still functioning, unlike her behavior all these days. She then proceeded to slap me on the back and shove me away. Well, there went all my guilt. She deserved it. I'm not sorry. I put her in a sticky situation where she had to sign, but only because she would not play nice. Anyways, it's been around a day since I got Cody to manipulate her into giving us all her assets, and she's been pretty unhappy. She's been treating me harsh, more harsh than before, but guys, I'm way too overjoyed with all this money to back me up, so I'll never have to struggle for the rest of my days. In fact, I could actually quit my job right now if I wanted and still live lavishly, but, I wouldn't do that. So I'm hoping to move forward with this, but only time will tell whether Candace relents and stops harassing me, or whether I have to find another plan that will either, out her, or at least give me some leverage. Alright guys, that's it for this. I'll let you know once I figure out a way to end this harassment once and for all. Bye guys. Update number 1. Hey, I'm back with an update. So Candace found out that I knew she was faking her disease. Honestly, I still find it so disrespectful that she's faking such a serious disease, because if you know anyone who has it, you'll know how hard it is to lose someone you love right in front of your eyes. Day by day, like their body is still there, but then they're not. And sometimes you just see glimpses of them, but you're just holding on to false hope, and it's just a delusion that somehow, some way, you'll get them back because they're not really dead. But it's of no use. It's an empty shell. I lost my father to vascular dementia caused by MID. The last few days were incredibly hard on me, and that's why it really is annoying that she's acting all wacky, but it's not even real. She's just mental. Anyways, after the whole thing with the will, Candace figured out that I knew her fake diagnosis, because a week later she approached me, acting like a proper villain from some movie with venom in her eyes and a tongue laced with poison. She told me she knew of her whole charade. I was like, huh? Yeah, what charade? Did you skip your medicine again, Candace? In a very condescending tone, but she just chuckled and slapped me. Ouch. She told me she was impressed by my will, and, well, the thing with the will was ingenious on my part. She called me a gold digger, who only married Cody for his huge wealth. That I felt threatened by the fact that Cody wasn't going to get any of it, so I played the game. If I'm being candid with y'all, I didn't really expect her to give in and actually sign and revise the will. I expected her to confess and tell everyone she didn't actually have dementia. But she actually played my game and let me have it. It surprised me. I just heard her out and shrugged. Like, okay, I know about your act. What are you going to do about it? Tell everyone else I knew? Well, to be honest, it was better when she didn't know I knew. Her torture escalated to a whole nother level, satanic almost. She started physically abusing me, hitting me, raising her hand on me, and I tried to tell Cody that her dementia was getting beyond our capability of caregiving, and that we had to admit her to an old age home for dementia patients. But Cody just consulted Jack, who said she was fine to stay at home as long as she came on bi-weekly visits to the doctor for an evaluation. So my attempt at sending her away failed completely. She added too much salt to the food I made, messed up the house after I tidied it up, opened the safe and moved important documents to places I could not find them. Heck, I missed the business flight because my passport somehow got to the top of the fridge. Well, I almost lost my job because of it. Her entire game with me is practically ruining my life, and I'd put her, but then Cody would not believe me because she's got Dr. Jack backing her, and he's been the family doctor since back when Cody was just a mere boy, and his dad was their family doctor before that, so he was a very strong bond. I don't know what I should do now, to be honest. Okay, anyways, have a great day. I'll let you know if any new information comes up. See you later. Update number 2. Hello, guys, I have some tea. I'm talking steaming hot. I just know you'll be shocked by this one. This whole thing is the biggest shock I've ever gotten. I stole Candace's phone because I needed proof of her faking the whole thing, so yeah. You know how people are so predictable? This woman's password was Cody. Like, okay, woman, 10 for 10 smart, unguessable. Anyways, I opened her chats with Dr. Jack and I was traumatized. I may have seen a couple of obscene pictures of Dr. Jack and Candace together, and I scrolled up pretty far. They had an affair. And it's been going on for years, and from what I could tell, I read some texts reminiscing about their years together when she was in her 40s. Damn, she's been cheating on Henry for a long time. There were images they shared plotting the fake diagnosis, saying lovey-dovey things to each other in the full package. Basically. So, it turns out the reason Candace doesn't just leave Henry back then was that she wanted to inherit all of his wealth, and Jack and Candace were planning to move in together in a year or two, when we'd put her in an old age home under his care. The reason she faked having dementia was that we just attribute her unexplainable behavior to it, and that she could go to meet Jack more often. But turns out she didn't really need it, as Henry passed on soon after her diagnosis, but she could not simply act, could she? Well, I took a whole lot of screenshots and sent them to my phone as proof so she'd stop treating me like dirt, and so I would have a bit of leverage. I'm not going to plan to out her to Cody. If she loves Jack, she loves him. It's not my place to reveal her relationship to Cody, but I told her I knew of her secret affair. I warned her to back off and stop harassing me, or I'd post these on Facebook for everyone to see. She threw a huge fit initially, but now she's complying, not bothering me and not acting crazy, so yeah. My life's better now, and I don't really care about whatever Candace is doing with Jack or whatever. As long as she's not pestering me, I'm all team Candace and Jack. My kids weren't very happy about Candace's treatment of me, so they're happy now. They're also slightly suspicious of her switch-up in behavior, but I just said sometimes things like this happen to dementia patients. So yeah, I'm overall happy. Life is back on track, and all it took was going through her phone. I've taken advantage of her deceit, and I've got a foolproof plan to keep her from bullying me. So who's the winner here? Really, who's actually getting all the benefit, her or me? I'm on cloud 9 right now. Okay guys, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back with another update. Are you ready for this? Cody found out. He knows of Candace's affair with Jack and her fake diagnosis. And remember when I said Cody, that Candace's behavior was getting unimaginable and just absolutely too erratic and unmanageable? And then he consulted Jack. Well, when Jack said that she was doing fine and could stay at home, Cody got confused and decides to go for a second opinion. Candace had to follow him to the other doctors for some testing. Well, guess what? Those tests and diagnosis came back the day before yesterday. He saw no signs of dementia. In fact, her health was extremely great for her age. This surprised Cody, who went to Jack's clinic where Candace had gone for her weekly visit. The receptionist recognized Cody and told him to go straight into his office, where he found them kissing. Poor thing must have been traumatized by old people kissing. Needless to say, he put 2 and 2 together and he berated them both. He stormed home after that. They followed behind, obviously, just trying to reason with him, but he was fuming. They had a huge fight and Cody absolutely destroyed them. Candace was honest this time, and she explained the entire situation from the start. Jack explained how they fell in love. They got married secretly and spent a lot of time together while Henry was working and Cody was away at boarding school or college. Candace revealed her plans to sell everything that Henry had and move to a nice small town with Jackie boy. But then, we took her inheritance and signed the will in our name, and she could not take it all. She still had shifted an ample amount of funds from Henry's bank account to her account before he died, so everything in his account was technically hers. She had enough to move away and live peacefully for the next 10 to 20 years. Cody calmed down, but I could still see his disgust and newfound hatred for his mother. They haven't talked ever since, and Jack has been right here with Candace the whole time in their room, and I discussed everything with Cody and told him about what I found out about her faking her illness, her harassment, my situation where I couldn't tell him, and then when I found out about the affair. I explained to him how I thought that she'd rather confess than give up her inheritance, but she didn't come clean and follow through with my plan. I showed him the screenshots I had of text messages between Candace and Jack. Cody is now angry at me too for not telling him earlier or showing him the screenshots, and I just said that his mother is a grown woman who can love whomever she pleases, and of course make her own decisions. Her method and decisions were crappy and mean, and she should not have cheated on Henry, but that's in the past. Cody can't be mad at Candace for being in love with Jack. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. See ya. Final update. Hey guys, I'm back, and this will probably be the last one. We've gone absolutely no contact with Candace. Cody could not handle how Candace treated me and how she lied to his father and him for decades. He was especially mad that he was worried about her health and mental state, and it was extremely grueling for him to see her go through Alzheimer's, but she was faking her ailments the entire time. He was heartbroken, and he told Jack to take Candace to his own home and that he would not be contacting them anymore. He did wish all the best, however, and it's been 2 months since. He hasn't talked to her or even brought her up. He just moved on, though I know he's hurting inside. We've got all this wealth and fortune now, so we're relaxed and are prepared to send our kids to the best damn college in the entire world. We've still been working pretty hard, and I got some properties cleaned up and refurbished to lease to any interested tenants. So, we've got a couple of people thus far willing to provide us with a stable income for the next 10 years. I got a promotion, so hey, that's fun. I'm getting my life turned back on track, and having someone not constantly breathing down my back is so freeing and nice. I'm glad Candace is gone for real this time. I mean, technically, Cody isn't talking to her, but I'm keeping tabs for her safety. I'm still in contact with Jack secretly, who tells me how Candace is doing. She's actually so happy now. I think all those years of hiding the affair and waiting for her husband's inheritance wore her down and made her do crazy things. Now, I don't forgive her. She's still a crazy witch to me, and I'm glad she's finally out of our lives so that we can move on in peace. But she's fine with not having her son in her life right now, so there's that. Anyways, okay, that's all for the post. See ya. I mean, this story was so insane. Candace was out of control, but I do want to know what you guys would have done in this position, because faking something like Alzheimer's is insane. I mean, who would do that just to get the upper hand? It was such a weird, bizarre situation, but at the end of the story, we find out OP and her significant other have basically cut all contact with the mother. Still, they're getting updates from the family doctor, who was crooked too. But I do want to know your thoughts about this, guys, so go ahead, drop a comment down below in the comment section. And if you guys are new to the channel, let me know what you would have done. And guys, if you want daily videos, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.